Hey guys, this is Justin at The Survivor Review, and in the final part of my look at the James Bond movies that involve Spectre, I'm going to be talking about the pre-credit sequence of For Your Eyes Only and the unofficial Bond movie, Never Say Never Again. So let's get started with For Your Eyes Only.
For your eyes only can see me through the night.
So this is going to be kind of weird, because I'm not going to talk about the entire movie, just the pre-credit sequence, because that's the only part of the movie that is Spectre related at all, so I'm just going to talk about that right now. But a little bit of history on this. At this point in time, Eon Productions, the studio that makes Bond movies, didn't have the rights to Spectre or Blofeld. I'll explain why a little bit later on. And at this point in the series, they weren't sure if Roger Moore was going to come back. So they put together this opening sequence as a way to tie in the new actor with James Bond's history. And what better way to do that than with Blofeld? Kinda. So the scene opens with a great callback to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Then a helicopter arrives to pick up Bond for a mission he has to go on. While the helicopter's in the air, the pilot is killed, and the helicopter is hijacked by Blofeld via remote control, and Bond has to stop it before Blofeld crashes it, killing Bond. It's actually a pretty fun sequence. There's some great stunt work with Bond standing on the side of the helicopter as it's flying that just makes you love old school Bond movies because it has that great stunt work in it. And it's just a cool scene. There's some good tension in the beginning, and it's overall a fun and exciting way to start the movie, despite a few problems I'll get to in a minute. You never actually see Blofeld's face, and his name is never said. He's never acknowledged to be Blofeld, but it's pretty obvious he is because he has the classic costume, he's bald, and he has the cat. So it's pretty clear it's supposed to be Blofeld. They just aren't allowed to officially say that. My problems with the scene start when Bond gets control of the helicopter. I mean, just listen to the music. Yeah, the scene quickly goes from exciting to camp in seconds, and it just gets really silly and unengaging. And the worst part about the scene, the part that I absolutely hate, is when Bond picks up Blofeld's wheelchair by the edge of the helicopter, which is actually another really cool stunt, by the way. But what happens after that is Blofeld starts begging for his life.
We can do a deal! I'll buy you a delicatessen in stainless steel! Please, put me down! Put me down!
It's the most out-of-character thing ever, and I hate it. This is Blofeld, the biggest Bond villain ever, and here he is begging like a pansy, and I hate that moment. It's worse than when he was in drag in Diamonds Are Forever. I thought that helped ruin the character. This really ruins the character. That's why I like to pretend this is not Blofeld, but just a different villain trying to get revenge on Bond, because you know there's a ton of those out there. Just because this is such a throwaway and cheap way to kill off the character. I mean, just quickly dispatching him in a pre-credit sequence. And then having him beg for his life, which is so disrespectful to the character that I like to just pretend. I know it's supposed to be Blofeld, but I like to pretend it's not. And this is not Blofeld at all, just another villain who happens to be similar to him.
Mr. Bond!
So the scene starts out good, it just doesn't end well. So that's the official end of Blofeld in the James Bond series. Though there is the unofficial Bond movie, Never Say Never Again. So some backstory on this. Before the James Bond movies came to be, Bond creator Ian Fleming collaborated with screenwriters Kevin McClory and Jack Whittingham on a James Bond movie. But it fell through and the movie never happened. Though Ian Fleming took the basis from that script and turned it into the novel Thunderball, and didn't give McClory or Whittingham any credit on the book. That created this huge legal dispute, which McClory ended up winning, gaining him a producer credit on the movie and rights to remake the movie within 10 years. And this is where the whole Spectre, Blofeld rights issues came into play, and why they couldn't use Blofeld in For Your Eyes Only, and they couldn't even use Spectre in the From Russia With Love video game. They had to change it to Octopus or something like that. Luckily, these legal issues have been cleared up finally, which is why we have the new Bond movie Spectre coming out. So the plot of the film. Spectre agent Maximilian Largo steals 2 American nuclear warheads. So MI6 reactivates their 00 section and sends Bond off to the Bahamas to recover the 2 warheads before Largo uses them to destroy the world. So to start out, this movie just feels weird. There's no Bond theme, there's no gun barrel sequence. All the supporting characters like M, Q, and Miss Moneypenny are all different, so it just feels like somebody else trying to make a James Bond movie. Which it technically is. Sean Connery as James Bond is still good. He's having fun with the role, and it's great to see him as the part despite his older age. He feels more into it than he did in Diamonds Are Forever, and he's in really good shape for his age, and looks better than he did in Diamonds Are Forever, and it's really nice seeing him in this movie. It's just fun. Largo is actually a pretty good villain. He starts out as just this typical Bond villain, bland at times, but then he has this crazy side that just slips out every once in a while, and it's very interesting and a very unique take on the character and actually makes him memorable.
And what if I ever leave you? No, really.
Then I cut your throat.
And just like the movie Thunderball, the character that steals the show is the female assassin, Fatima Blush, who's just plain crazy. Her performance is just so interesting to watch. Sometimes it's really subtle, sometimes it's completely over the top. She steals every scene she's in and is easily the best part of this movie. And then as Blofeld, you have legendary actor Max von Sydow. The sad thing is he doesn't get a whole lot to do. He has like 2 scenes and he's just sitting in an office talking. But his performance is good. What's funny is his performance is actually closer to the way Blofeld was in the early Bond movies when you didn't see his face. It's actually a lot closer to that. It's what I would expect Blofeld to be if they revealed his face in those movies. So it's really interesting to see that, to not see this big, grand, over-the-top villain like Donald Pleasance, but this more subdued type of villain. I really like that. He was actually good. He didn't get anything to do. The rest of the cast is not so great. Kim Basinger as Domino, yeah, she's hot, but that's about it. Her acting is pretty bland, and again, this is one of her first movies, so, you know, I can't really blame her, and her character doesn't have a whole lot to her. M really annoyed me in this movie. For some reason, he is just angry at Bond. Now, M is normally supposed to be annoyed at Bond, but this M is like so ungrateful. He treats Bond like he's just a crappy double agent, not a person who's done all these big missions. That's like, seriously, dude, come on, show some respect. And Rowan Atkinson plays a comic relief agent who's there to help out Bond. He's just plain unfunny. And I hate to say this, because I love Rowan Atkinson. It's just there's nothing there for his character, and he couldn't make the material work. He just comes off as just annoying, and it really sucks, because he actually could have made a fun comic relief character. It's just not in this movie. The main problem with this movie is that it's flat and unexciting, which is really disappointing, because the director of this movie is Irvin Kershner, who made The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, so it really sucks that this movie's just so uninspired. There's action scenes, there's not a whole lot, but they're not very exciting. There's not a whole lot to them. And that's the problem with this movie. It's not very exciting. It just feels by the numbers. There's one ridiculous scene where Bond and Largo play this video game, and it's the most ridiculous looking thing ever. You're watching and you're just like, what am I watching? What is going on? They're playing some sort of weird video game. They get little shocks on their hands if they mess up. It's a stupid scene. And there's this ridiculous scene where Bond and Domino are on a horse and they jump off the edge of this building, and the effect of it is so stupid. And then the shot of the horse landing in the water apparently worried a lot of people, to the point where that helped create the part at the end of the movie credits where it says no animals were harmed in the making of this movie. That scene helped create that. There is one really good part, though, where Bond convinces this doorman that he's holding a bomb. Some good comedic moments there. And again, that's just where this movie shines the most, is whenever Connery's having fun. And the scene with the shark is pretty fun. That's really well done. Especially because it's a real shark, and it all looks really good and is really convincing. So that's a really cool scene. A good example of the flatness of this movie is the scene in the casino. Every Bond movie has a scene in the casino, and they always make the casinos look so great. Well, that's how the scene goes in this movie. I do think this movie is better than Diamonds Are Forever. Not by much, but I do think this is a better send-off than Diamonds Are Forever, because the movie still takes itself a little bit more seriously, well, a lot more seriously than Diamonds Are Forever. It is a more scaled-back type of Bond movie. There's a little bit of gadgets here and there, but that's not the focus of the movie. So this is a better send-off than Diamonds Are Forever, especially with Connery looking a lot better in this one, a lot more fit and a lot more into it in this one. It's just, the problem is just it's a dull, flat movie that's not very exciting and kind of drags at some points. So out of 10, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. It was really weird watching this movie so closely after watching Thunderball, because when I was younger, the plots never stuck with me, and I saw these movies so far apart that I never recognized the fact that this was a remake of Thunderball. And watching it now, it's really weird seeing some of the scenes that are parallel with that are similar. It's really weird watching a movie that's a remake of a Bond movie with the same actor, with Sean Connery. It's just weird. So that ends my look at all the James Bond movies that involve Spectre. And the next movie I'm actually going to be reviewing on this channel is the new James Bond movie, Spectre, which I can't wait for. So until then, I'll talk to you guys later.